What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So, today we're doing a first impressions and, build overview for Unairu Gyre. Yes, this is a Gyre build focused around using the Unairu focus tree because her abilities deal electric damage, and honestly, electric damage does not like armor very much. So, yeah, we're going to go over buffed Unairu and what Gyre's abilities are, how you can play her, and yeah, all that good stuff. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Make sure you're subbed and all that stuff. Make sure the live stream channel as well. We will be going live probably right after this video goes up to hit rank 5 the first day it's available for the new syndicate for the Zariman ship. So yeah. Alright, so it's Unairu Gyre, and because Gyre comes from like the latest game tile set in the latest game, I guess, like on the Zariman ship, you have to beat the new war and all that, we are going to be going pretty in on late game gear here. So let's first go over how her abilities work. Now, the first thing you want to remember is that her passive is going to be that her abilities can actually get crits. 10% crit chance is added to her abilities for every electric status effect on the enemy. So if they have 10 electric status effects on them, because they can stack up to like a million, they will get 10 per stack. So 10 status procs of electric is 100% crit chance, and so on and so forth. It does cap at 300, so if you have 30 electric procs, it will red crit. I don't believe it goes any higher than that. So that's something you're going to keep in mind. Now, when you throw out these abilities, they're going to be dealing electric damage. And like I said, electric damage not the best. As you can see, there's a crit right there. That yellow number right there is technically higher than the white numbers you're seeing where it's a non-crit. So that's basically the general gist of her. Now, we just threw out her first ability. It's called, I think, Arc Sphere or something like that. Where it's basically the ability you Helminth off, to be honest. So throw out an orb, it's going to shock enemies nearby. Not a guaranteed electric proc, but it will deal electric damage. You have 3 of them out at a time, so you can cover a decent amount of area in like CC crowd control. And with her other abilities combined, you can get lots of crits and all that. If the enemies have no armor, so we're talking about Unairu. There's a new Unairu focus ability for the operator where you push a button, enemy's armor is all removed. Now our electric orb can destroy them very quickly. So that's the general gist of this playstyle. And once you go over the rest of the abilities, it's just really good for like destroying enemies in huge groups and getting lots of red crits too. So there's also that. Alright, so that's Arc Sphere. Generally viewed as her worst ability. It does technically have higher base damage like per hit than her second ability, but the second ability has such good utility that it's kind of a hard ask to even compare the two. So speaking of her second ability, we have this is a weird one. What's it called? Coil Horizon. So we're going to throw an orb, which is going to bounce around a little bit, roll around. Once it's done rolling around, it will explode, or rather implode, pulling enemies in and dealing some more shock damage. So as you see, depending how much range we have, is going to determine how many enemies we are going to grab from like how far away. So it's a little bit hard to aim. So that's one of the reasons I don't like this ability as much, but I can't deny how useful it is. Those guys are all pulled in together. Makes it very easy for our armor strip operator ability to just make them a complete joke. So they get pulled in, they're all armor removed. We have no mods in the build right now. We do have a Panzer Cat, to be fair, and we almost killed those guys, like no problem. So armor removal, very good for her. If you're using Unairu Focus School, there's also another ability, which is going to be called Magnetic Flare. This will remove enemy shields in the area. Thankfully, I don't really care too much about shields with these electric abilities because shields and Corpus in general are not the tankiest, so she's actually very good for Corpus. And she could be okay too for Grineer and Corrupted if you use that armor strip. So, it pulls enemies in. It's a little bit hard to aim sometimes. Like, let's say you throw it at an angle. There's some stairs right here. It's like, oh, I want them to stung it right there. No, it rolled off the ledge, and now it's going to get absorbed over here. This is her Helminth ability that she can give to other frames, by the way. So, it's a little bit annoying. Is it better than Snare? Probably not. It doesn't require a target, unlike in Snare. It's a little bit closer to Larva, where you can just throw it wherever you want, and if it hits an enemy, it hits an enemy. If it doesn't, probably should have thrown it better. Alright, let's move on to her third ability. This is her, buffer ability, I guess, but it's only a buff for herself. So, I'm going to go ahead and say I feel like this one should probably get buffed a little bit because it feels a little bit underwhelming. So, what this one's called is Cathode Grace. You're going to activate this ability, and if you don't kill enemies in time, it will go on a 60-second cooldown. But at base, it's got 8 seconds of duration, and every time you get a kill, it'll give you 3 seconds of increased duration. What this ability will do during that duration of it, hopefully not being on cooldown because you killed stuff fast enough, you will get increased crit chance for weapons and your abilities. Additionally, you will get an energy rate of 1.5 at base. So really, really low energy per second, but it will give you increased crit for your abilities and guns. So if you want to like get lots of red crits and stuff like that, this is a good ability for you. It's like a much weaker version of Harrow's 4, I'd say. But it doesn't require as much of you to get that buff, while also trading it only buffing you instead of your teammates. It's just worse than Harrow, in my opinion, so let's cast it. Now, I believe that the math for this is the increased crit chance is additive for her abilities and multiplicative for weapons. So, now this is a red crit gun on purpose, so it doesn't normally do this. But, you know, that is potentially what you could get if you're stacking, like, crit chance arcanes and stuff like that. And as you can see, we throw out our first ability. The energy's coming back relatively fast. Actually, no, not relatively fast. We're getting like, see, this 1.5 energy per second. That feels like it get like buffed to like triple the amount, like 5 energy at base. Now that energy you get per second does scale with power strength, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also, you know, kind of underwhelming if you ask me. Her fourth ability is called, it's called Rotor Swell. Now what this one's gonna do is you're gonna activate it, and the entire screen's gonna be covered in ability effects. You won't be able to see what's going on, but you know, at least something is potentially taking damage from it. So we activated it, entire screen covered in like weird stuff. Now what's gonna happen is whenever we get a critical hit, we are going to shock an enemy with a lightning strike. So that also counts for her ability. So we throw out her first ability. Now with this build, it's not that much crit chance because there's no mods on here, but now it's just lightning strikes everywhere without even any mods on our build. You can recast the 4 to keep going, and yeah, just get crits. Using a red crit weapon, lots of crits everywhere. Now, this is a little bit buggy. So at launch, this was like calling down lightning constantly, but it feels like since launch, it's not really calling down lightning as much. You know, which I consider a good thing just because I can't even see what's going on half the time with this frame, which is why I'm not going to really be playing her too much. But yeah, it's kind of strange. Like, I feel like the third ability, the energy restore, doesn't work sometimes. And the lightning from the 4, like, it will go crazy sometimes, and then sometimes it won't go crazy. It's very odd. So what I'm going to recommend to you is we've actually got a build set up right here. So I'm going to say you want 200% power strength on this frame. That will get your crit chance from Cathode Grace to 100 plus, which will make it where your abilities are guaranteed to crit. And then additionally, you're going to be getting orange and red crits too once you start stacking things up. You got a nice little trick with one of the new late game arcanes, Molt Vigor. So on operator ability cast, 45% ability power strength for the next Warframe ability. Since the energy and crit chance buff, Cathode Grace is a channeled ability. What we can do is we can use our armor strip from Unairu Focus School, which is going to be Caustic Strike, which is crucial to our build for fighting Armored Grenier and all that stuff. We're going to cast this. We're going to go back to our frame. And we're going to cast one of our channeled abilities. So, for example, we're gonna cast the beginning of the mission before we do anything. We find a couple enemies. We throw out an Unairu ability with Molt Vigor. We're getting 45% extra strength on here. That's going to buff our energy rate. It's going to buff our crit chance even more. And this ability will last as long as it goes until you die or if you run out of enemies to kill. So, very, very good for channeled abilities. You technically could go for like Empower from like Helminth or whatever. But yeah, Molt Vigor is new and I wanted to try it out and it's been working pretty well. You could, of course, go for something else like Arcane Avenger for more crit chance or Arcane Strike for faster attack speed, whatever. But this is what we got here. And we've also got Shield Gating, where we've got Brief Respite and Augur Reach. Now, we could technically put on one more to get like easy Shield Gating. But I wanted to try out Natural Talent here a little bit. If you wanted like even more Shield Gate, you could go with Augur Secrets. Going to give you a little more power strength. If you do that, though, you might want to switch Power Drift for Drifting Contact because... Or not Drifting Contact, Cunning Drift, because since we're running Unairu Focus School, we don't need Prime Sure-Footed. As long as you go between your operator and your Warframe a couple times per mission, you're going to have Prime Sure-Footed built in. But yeah, as I was saying, a little bit more range up there, ain't going to hurt anyone besides the enemies. And there you go. Same thing, a little bit slightly different build. So let's just show how this works with mods now against these guys. We're going to unpause them. I'm going to show you what I'm recommending to you as far as the Unairu like instant armor strip thing. So level 190. Gyre has not the best of ability, so that's actually what we're going to be going for with the Helminth option for her. Pull all the enemies in, and then use the armor strip, and they should be dead in no time at all. Alright, so that's what you can get with, just Unairu Gyre. Armor strip thrown out. Now that we've cast an ability, we have our Molt Vigor proc. That's even more power strength for our 3, giving us more and more crit chance, because we aren't even using our crit buff there. So let's cast every ability and do that same exact thing. Alright, so there should be lots of lightning on the screen. It's kind of hard to see what's going on most of the time with Gyre, so hopefully you never get in a squad of like 3 or 4 of them with a Kuva Ogress and a multi-shot Riven, or yeah, rest in peace your computer. So, I'm saying this, you know, like, hey, like, I don't like this ability, I don't like that ability. What would you do Helminth-wise for her? Well, I have 2 options for you, and I've tried both of them out. We've got Pillage from Hildren, going to remove enemy shields and armor and give them back to you, or rather going to give the shields back to you, and it will remove the armor. Going to make it easier to kill enemies with your electric procs. And of course, like I said, you probably want 200% power strength, so just go Augur Secrets here. But yeah, going to help you remove enemy armor and shields so you can kill them easier with electric procs, or just like anything in general. Most of her damage comes down from her lightning strikes, so you might want to, you know, get a good amount of strength here. Let's also get some gameplay on the screen. This gameplay on the screen here is from Molt, though. Molt from Zariman is just, it's one of the best shield getting abilities in the game. And that's what we've gone here with today. So as you see right there, I cast my Unairu ability to get my Coil Horizon, Cathode Grace actually, to get my Cathode Grace buffed up. And our weapon choices here, I think Gyre really benefits heavily from grouping enemies up. Thankfully, her second ability does group enemies up. We've actually got Exodia Hunt Zaw here as well, where we're going to be using the one of the highest crit Zaws in the game. Also, if you don't like red crits, turn away now, because that's what this gameplay is. We're using one of the highest crit chance Zaws in the game with a Hammer Zaw, the Rob V Zaw, and it will make it where we can do slam attacks really fast, because I have an attack speed Riven and all the attack speed mods combined up, and it's just to make it where there is a vortex of death whenever we use our melee. And just to make things even more visually offensive, I've actually gone with Jugulus Spines on the Zaw. So, actually it's called Jugulus Barbs. So here's the arcane I'm talking about. On ground slam, pull enemies in within 12 meters. It's actually a vortex, and it will linger with you a little bit. So since you want to pull enemies into your electric procs, and that's what your 4 does, it shocks nearby enemies and all that kind of stuff. And when you get crits, you also shock. Pull them in, shock them up. You're getting crits from how high our crit chance is with Blood Rush and all that. And like I said, you want some tentacles just because it's funny. Yeah, that's what you could do. Just even more suction, even more, you know, CC. We've also got the Tentacle Gun. Speaking of tentacles, now this is the most crit chance you can go for, pretty much. Where we've got a crit chance Riven with a crit chance mod, and then we've also got Gyre. This will kill stuff everywhere. Like if you look at them, it's a fire hose of red crits. And yeah, rest in peace the Corpus. Now you can't, like I said, you can use it against Grenadier. It's a little bit more annoying. She's not really a frame I'd actively recommend at this point because she feels a little bit buggy. She feels a little bit undertuned. As you can see in the gameplay footage right here, like I have, you know, nearly 250% power strength when I procced Molt Vigor at the beginning of the mission, and I'm getting like 4 or 5 energy per second. That's a good amount of strength there. For comparison's sake, Harrow would probably be getting like 990 energy per kill. So, yeah, it's a little bit weaker, and Harrow will also be restoring energy to his teammates, too. I know she's not supposed to be a support frame, but, you know, she's not really a DPS either, I feel like. Like, her range for her electric procs are not super far. It's like, with this build, I think the 4 Calling Down Lightning ability has a 7.6 meter shock range, and the discharge range for the lightning strikes is 19 meters. So not exactly huge. Not to mention that the damage type of electric, I mean, we're showing the Corpus gameplay for a reason. It's a little bit tedious against like big groups of armored enemies because she really relies on that armor strip. And the nice thing, like I said, Unairu really does have some good. Unairu came out from this focus rework really far ahead where it used to be. It's got prime sure-footed. It's got armor strip, full armor strip. It's got full shield removal. It's got probably some other stuff too that I'm just not thinking about. But yeah, I've been digging Unairu. And it's really good on her because she wants the armor strip so badly. But yeah, I definitely think she could use some buffs. I'm not sure what the situation is with her 4. Like I said, at launch, it was like, it actually hurt my eyes how many lightning strikes there were. And now it's like, it feels like the lightning strikes are like, there's like an internal cooldown of like 1 lightning strike every half second or something like that. I haven't really been checking it that thoroughly, but that's what it seems like. Oh, by the way, if you're running an Epitaph on her or like a Condition Overload Primer, since you want to having more electric procs on the enemy makes them take more crits from her abilities, you could technically go with your Epitaph with Viral Electric instead of Viral Heat. but it's not going to really matter too much. She can kill enemies with her abilities, but she's honestly mostly a weapons platform still, even after all that. But yeah, if you got lucky and somehow got her to drop from bounties, like good job. I've tried farming her for a second set for Helminth, didn't happen. Still waiting on some bug fixes. You know how it is. Yeah, overall, pretty fun frame. Just lightning strike and everything, seeing red crits. I think Molt's actually nice for her because, moving around quicker, because that's what Molt does. It gives you your shield gate back and, makes you move faster. It's good for a melee playstyle, good for getting close to the enemy and shocking them with her 4, and, things of that nature. So I really do like Molt on her. I think it's the best option I've gone for. Pillage was okay, but the problem with Pillage is like the animation for waiting for the energy wave to come back. It feels like it takes forever sometimes. So here's an Acolyte getting shocked to death by her abilities. Like I said, the armor strip's very helpful there. And, for the Corpus, she's pretty fun. Of course, a Nullifier is going to ruin some of this, potential synergy where it's like, oh, I lost my 4, I lost my 3 because I walked into a Nullifier bubble. Yeah, so the most important stats for her, I'd say, are strength and range. And I put efficiency. I didn't go into blind rage because the energy per second on her 3 feels so low. If they do buff her 3 to make it like decent energy per second, I might put blind rage back on. But for now, transient fortitude felt better in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see. This is the first impressions video. Wanted to show you guys what I'm rocking here, and I don't know if I actually showed the Molt build, but this is the one I'm usually using. It feels like the most effective to me. And since we're running Molt and not Pillage, I'm not running Natural Talent. So we've actually got a little bit more power strength than we did on the other build too. So yeah, hopefully you guys found it fun and helpful. Yeah, I wanted to give DE a week before the rant video, so that'll probably come out tomorrow. So yeah, see you guys next time. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you on Twitch in like 10 minutes. Bye-bye.